There we go. Check, 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 check. Check 1, 2. Check, check. Check 1, 2. Check. Hello. Stand by for the District 4 Town Hall meeting. Will begin shortly. Thank you. Good evening. Please stand by for the front hall. Will begin momentarily.
Good evening, City of Grand Prairie residents. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's town hall. The time is 5:50 p.m. and the live stream will begin in approximately 10 minutes.
Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2.
Hello. Hello. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the town hall. Real quick housekeeping rules. Water stairs. Um, we appreciate that you leave it to the very end. When we're ready for questions, if you come up to the mic and ask your question, mic since we will be streaming live. Being at the mic will help our audience at home hear your question better. Thank you.
All right. Good evening. First of all, just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Um, it's great to get together once again with y'all. It's been about a year. So I know usually I try to have 2 town halls a year, but with the cycle happening this previous first part of the year, we kind of waited till the end of the year to do the town hall. So a lot's been going on in the district. Just to let y'all know, my name is John Lopez. I represent District 4, which covers pretty much south of 20, and you're going to see a map just pop up here shortly. But before we get started, I do want to recognize a couple people in the audience that we have here tonight. First of all, we do have our city manager, Mr. Bill Hills. All right. And then, of course, we also have our school board trustee of Grand Prairie ISD, Ms. Gloria Carrillo. And I do want to share this moment briefly up front with our mayor, Mr. Ron Jensen, just for him to say a couple words here to the audience.
I'm glad you had it here. It's been a long time since we've had a meeting here, so this is great. It's what we built it for, to have a little meeting space. Everybody wants meeting spaces. So thank y'all for coming out tonight. I hope you find it informative. But like I always say, don't wait for town halls to ask us questions. We're very accessible. You can email us. John, I know, is very accessible. We reply to emails. We get them to our staff to reply. Don't think you have to wait until the next town hall. Please. We'd prefer you not to wait because we don't want to be ganged on tonight. Give us the opportunities to take care of things before tonight. Can't do that now. You're here and we want to hear from you. But if you have something next Wednesday, David, you've gotten a hold of John and I both many times. You know we respond. We will respond. And I know for sure John is very responsive. He checks his emails routinely. Get with us. We're easy to find on the gptx.org website. Real easy to find. Again, thank y'all for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. So on the screen here, y'all can see the district. Do want to just highlight a couple of things right before we get started. Lots been going on the past year. I know some of y'all follow me on social media. Some of y'all don't even like social media. So just to recap a couple of highlights for y'all. There's a lot of opportunities in our district that's happening. So we're trying to make sure we're proactive and really engaging with what's happening, especially when it comes to your backyard. For example, last year around this time, there was at Garden Oaks neighborhood, which is off of Lynn and Camp Wisdom. They were going to where there was going to be a developer coming in, building some apartments, small little partial land. If you're familiar with the site, this will be right across the street from the Italian restaurant that's there on Camp Wisdom Lynn. And they were trying to build some apartments there. Now, it was, according to what they saw online, it had the proper zoning to build apartments. But after discussions with the neighborhoods and doing some research, we found out that there was actually a city council meeting that happened in 1984. And in that city council meeting, there was a decision made that saying you build apartments here just as long as you get the well situated by the end of the year. And we did some more research and we learned that they did not make that deadline. So in 1984 in December, it did not make. So that neighborhood said, well, you know what? It needs to go revert it back to single family. So that neighborhood, they don't have a HOA. They don't have a PID. They actually met as neighbors and got together and met as a neighborhood and we discussed their options. As a neighborhood, they teamed up. They actually went to court and actually sued for the property to remain single family, just because they kind of felt that they did not meet what the developer was supposed to do before the 1984. And that took about 2 years for that whole process to take place. So back in December of 2024, the judge finally ruled and said, you know what, neighborhood, you are correct. It should have been single family, not apartments. So that neighborhood was able to win that case, but it had to go all the way to the court system, to get that done. And the reason I bring that up, because we know that there's certain properties in our district and throughout the city, the land has rights, right? We as the city council, we try to do our best and make sure we don't just approve everything without doing the research. With that particular property, if we did not do that research, it could have just been built apartments and the neighborhood would have lost out in that part. Another important Okay, we're going to answer questions, but I got an update for Senate Bill 840. And what he's referring to, there's a new law that the state of Texas just passed September 1st that really takes a lot of the control away from cities and allows developers to come in and do it by right. And definitely we want to make sure we talk about that tonight as well. Another dealing with rights, land rights, there's a community called Beacon Hill neighborhood. Those that are familiar, Horseshoe Bend, along Magna Carta, and Kingswood. There was going to be a hotel being built right next to a elementary school, right next to a storage unit, right off of 360 in Kingswood. By right, it's commercial, they could do it, but they were trying to do it asking for a variance. They wanted to go 60 stories high, and it was going to look directly into people's neighborhoods, backyards. Now, when they went through the process, some of the neighbors weren't aware it was happening, right? Because developers ain't going to take the time to go door to door and see how you feel about it, right? They're going to try to see if they go through the process and make sure it stays under the radar. As soon as we found out about it, I took the time, met with the HOA board, and we discussed options to consider. I told them it's great for the neighborhood to get involved, participate, sign their positions, whether they're for it or against it, just so we can understand what's going on. And then as more neighbors found out about it, of course, nobody wanted extended stay. So extended stay hotel would have meant that someone could stay there 30 days at a time and at a hotel right above an elementary school and then right above someone's backyards. So we were able to stop that development from coming through. It did not make sense. So we worked closely with the HOA boards and also the PIDs in that area to make sure everyone was fully aware of that part.
John did an excellent job in pulling everybody together and convincing the city council to work on our behalf. Because we're taxpayers, we've been here a long time. We're not going anywhere. And that was that hotel was gonna be right next to a daycare and elementary school. So that was just ridiculous. I want to give John a big hand for doing that.
Well, yeah, and as elected officials, as city council and the mayor, it's not really us. I mean, we have to do our job and listen to the residents, and that's what that's why we like having town halls. We like having community events to listen to what's going on in your backyard, because we don't see everything happening 7 days a week. You know, you're a lot closer to it. You could explain the process to us a lot better, and then really take your position all the way to city hall. So we do have several individuals that want to give you a recap of what's happening all throughout the city. And then what we're trying to do is, like, towards the end of the night, have enough time to have questions answered by y'all, make sure we address whatever issues y'all might be facing, and then we have that dialogue going. Um, so to start off things tonight, I do want to welcome our economic development director, Tony Ramirez, up to the stage here. Okay, I'm sorry, Tony. We're going to do a video clip and then.
Home to 206,000 residents and growing. As 2025 wraps up, here's a look back at the progress we've made together and the promising future ahead. Your safety is by far our top priority. That's why we will continue to fund and support our Grand Prairie Police and Fire Departments. Saving efforts earned our city the distinction as the safest city in DFW in 2025, an outstanding EMS response recognition for the 11th year in a row, and the highest rating by the Insurance Services Office, which reduces your insurance rate. We also want to make sure our roads are safe, so we've allocated over $20 million from the city budget for our Transportation and Mobility Department, which oversees street services and roadway improvements all over our wonderful city. Well-maintained roads make it easier for the city to pick up 2.2 million pounds of waste every single day and haul it to get processed efficiently. It's a big job, but it's worth it to keep your neighborhoods clean in a way that is sustainable and convenient for you. Another way we work hard for your convenience is by processing 42 million gallons of water through our 885 miles of city water lines every single day, all to make sure your water is safe, clean, and reliable. But we're also committed to making Grand Prairie a better place to enjoy with your family by funding and supporting our award-winning parks, libraries, and free events like Main Street Fest, voted the best music festival in DFW. And it'll keep getting bigger and better thanks to a Main Street development project, which promises to transform downtown into a beautiful, pedestrian-friendly destination with state-of-the-art public spaces for all kinds of free events and activities. Downtown will also feature new housing options in the form of modern condos and townhouses, as well as affordable homes in our new Alice Court development. Grand Prairie is also growing to the south with a new 5,000-acre master-planned community called Goodland. To accommodate this growth, Grand Prairie is expanding its infrastructure and response with our new Fire Station 11. All of this is just the beginning of the big plans in store for your wonderful city. But we want to make sure we grow responsibly. And that's why we're here tonight. So you can hear from us and we can hear from you. Thank you for joining us at tonight's Town Hall.
All right. No, thank y'all. It's a quick video. It's out there on YouTube, I believe, and people who watch it, just they want to recap it as well. So just get started again. Once again, we want to introduce Mr. Tony Ramirez with Economic Development Update.
Thank you very much, Council Member. My name is Tony Ramirez. I'm the Director of Economic Development here at the City of Grand Prairie. So a little bit about our department is we help companies so that they can come to the city and expand. They do that through job creation or also deploying capital and and other fun activities. So just a little breakdown and an update on some of the exciting openings that we have scheduled. You did see that Portillo's did finally open. They've opened about 3 months ago, and they are doing very, very well. There is a tofu Korean kitchen also on Pioneer Parkway that is on its way here. A lot of focus for healthy food for the city, so this is going to help us get a little bit closer to that. We do have BJ's Wholesale, which is also going to be opening, which is right next to the IKEA, which is off of 161. And the best way that I can describe the BJ's Wholesale is it's similar to a Costco, but it doesn't have the lot size requirement typically that Costco needs. Sometimes we don't need 200 paper towels on a pallet. And they also have a lot of healthy food initiatives with their offerings. We do a brand new Sonic that opened up on Main Street. It does have a new playground. And then, of course, Swig off of 161. We do have some exciting projects under construction right now. Crunch Fitness, a fitness center off of 161, which is supposed to be open here the first quarter of golf. We're hoping to get that launched out first part of 2026 as well. They did experience some delays with the heavy rains that we had, so they had initially planned to be open by Christmas, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to hit that. Bojangles, also off of Carrier, Rosa's Cafe, which was stalled for a very long time. We did manage, the team did a great job to put our heads together to get all of their requirements up and running. A brand new coffee shop off of Main Street. And here nearby, right down the road, we have a Frost Bank branch, so access to capital, and Euros as well. You can skip to the next slide. All right. And I'll pass it over to council member for an additional announcement.
Thank you, Tony. One big project that Tony has really, helped our city with is that we're bringing in Modine. Is that correct? So Modine is going to be built and operating on the north side of town over there off of Wildlife Parkway. And the reason this is such a big announcement for us, because it's going to create 1,000 new jobs. 1,000 jobs for us to have here within our city. It's a very competitive. There are other cities wanting this to be part of their city. Tony and his team did an excellent job of making sure they understood why it's important to be here in Grand Prairie. But the reason this is important, these jobs are going to start on average about $70,000 a year. The added bonus is that they're committed also to partner up with the ISD to make sure that we train our students to be part of this program and have a way for them to transition into this type of roles. It's going to be like HVACs for data centers. So everything that goes into HVAC systems, keeping data centers going throughout Texas and throughout the nation, they're going to create those type of working jobs, skill sets. So that to us, it's something that, when you're able to be another competitor city in the Metroplex, it's a big win for us. So we're very excited on that part. So next up, we have a fire department update. I know Chief is tied up on another assignment currently. So we do have our battalion chief here with us.
Good evening. My name is Steve Romchek. I'm Battalion Chief here at the Grand Prairie Fire Department. Just kind of give you a few updates. You're going to see a little bit of some changes with us. As council member mentioned, we did just open our Station 11. It's way down there, way down south there at 287. We do have kind of 12 in our too. So in the next, not too distant future, you will see another fire station down there as well. Another thing that we did is we did just recertify our ISO 1 rating, which for you guys that typically means lower homeowners insurance rates. So that's really good. We pride ourselves on that. Obviously, that's a high level for us to obtain. There's a lot of different check boxes we have to do in order to obtain that, but it looks good for us, but ultimately it benefits you. One of the other big things that we've done recently is we're partnering with a couple of our neighboring cities. And this will definitely affect you in something you might see, especially with Mansfield and Midlothian, depending on where you live. In the past, it was always Grand Prairie went to Grand Prairie calls, Mansfield went to Mansfield calls. We are entering into an automatic aid agreement with them, so that right now when you call 911, you're going to get the closest appropriate apparatus regardless of what city it comes from. You might still get station 10, but if they're out on another call or if they're at our training center in Irving and they're unavailable, one of the Mansfield apparatus might be the most closest and appropriate. So if you do call 911 and you see a Mansfield fire truck coming to your house, don't be alarmed. Same thing for their citizens as well. If they call 911, it might be us going over there to assist them. Ultimately, all the citizens down here in this area and all the cities are getting a better response out of this, regardless of where the city boundaries are at. And then lastly, we are entering into the holiday season. If you guys didn't notice these last few days, it got a little cool out there. Space heaters. Please be careful with those space heaters. That's probably one of the big reasons we get a lot of our fires this time of year. Anytime you're plugging those things in, make sure you're giving a good 3 feet around those space heaters. We do get burns, and unfortunately, we do get fires because of those as well. So please be real careful this cold season, this holiday season with your Christmas lights as well.
Thank you, Chief. Now, and Fire Station 11 is very important to our community, especially as we grow down south. I know 360, 287, I mean, Grand Prairie is annexing a lot of additional land down there. So we're expecting in the next 20, 30 years, we're probably going to see another 50,000 people living in Grand Prairie in that area. So that's why it's important for us to start building that infrastructure now. Now we do have an update from our police chief.
Hi, everybody. Daniel Cesny. I'm your police chief. Just a couple things I want to mention for the fire department. So Chief Fight, not only did he have another pressing issue, but he's at a funeral for one of our fire brother's wife that was unexpectedly passed. So he's exactly where he needs to be. He can't be here. One of the things that he always covers, and I know he would kick me if I don't cover it, is the significance of the ISO 1 rating. So if you don't know, that means if you have a cardiac event, you have to be on the operating table within 1 hour to qualify for that. Really difficult to do, and the Grand Prairie Fire Department does it consistently. So as he always says, it's still his joke, if you have to have a heart attack, have it in Grand Prairie because it's the best place to get saved. So anyway, enough about don't tell anybody I was complimenting the fire chief because he was here, I'd be insulting him, just for clarity. Let's talk about crime. So Grand Prairie right now, as we're sitting here, is the lowest crime rate we've had since we've been counting, period, full stop. Super proud of that because our team works very, very hard. We have an evidence-based, thank you. It's because of the really smart innovation that comes from our executive team that comes up with these really great evidence-based approaches to stopping crime before it happens instead of just catching the crooks after it happens. So really proud of them. So right now, particularly here in District 4, we are down 10% year to date. We're about 20% on the city. This is over last year, and as I said, lowest point in well over 15 years. I don't want to bore you with our crime fighting strategy, but as I said, it's evidence-based. So if you were to look at the crime rate here in Grand Prairie and compare it to everyone around us, nobody's close. I mean, we are the only first-rank suburb that's in the top 5 in all of Texas. We study crime data, and then we deploy resources in advance of those offenses so that we can deter it instead of just displace it. So really proud of them. What are the issues we have? Well, there's a lot of people with lead foot in Grand Prairie, as you well know. So we've initiated a new program called Focus, where we boost up the amount of officers that are on the street. They work off duty. It's an off-duty assignment for them, and then we push them into the areas where we have problems. I'll give you an example. Mr. Garza, I see him in the back. In the past, he's brought up issues on Kingswood, and I appreciate that feedback because it's your eyes and ears that helps us be more effective. So I asked Chief Sleva to tackle that problem. I think since May, Chief, if I script these stats, please correct me, but somewhere around 150 some odd stops, 30 warnings, 130 tickets. Is that close? 170 stops, short change on 20 stops. Okay, thank you. Now, some of that may be all. So sorry if it was, but blame Charlie. Yeah, so we appreciate that feedback, and we are working really hard. The other thing that we're trying to tackle is quality of life issues. So sometimes it's not necessarily a crime issue, but it's an issue that maybe graffiti or something's ugly. We want to know about those things too, because there's a criminological theory called broken windows that talks about if a neighborhood gets dilapidated, then crime comes with us. We want to get way in front of that. And again, I don't want to issue everybody a pocket protector, but we're nerdy around there, and that's how we've been able to get the crime down. So I think that's my elevator speech. We'll be around for questions until the end, and I think next is code enforcement. Correct, sir? Yeah. All right. I'm going to tag in Ryan Simpson. He's Assistant Director of Police, but he's also, among other things, commands our code department. And tag Ryan, you're it.
All right. Hello, everybody. So just a little update on code. I know this map might be a little difficult to read, but I believe the QR code will give you a better view of it. But this just shows kind of the code violation areas in the southern part of the city. District 4 has a code officer assigned to it, as do our other areas of the city. We have 10 code officers that have geographic assignments like that. And then we have several other staff that have more specialized assignments, like short-term rentals, auto businesses, convenience stores, and so forth, just to give some examples. This slide right here is a little interesting. So this is complaints received by code year to date. So 1,575. And so what's interesting about this is about a 10% increase over this time last year, but this is initial calls to code. However, the actual substantiated violations after the code officer goes out to the location to take a look is flat compared to last year. As you can, it still might be a little small from where y'all are sitting there, but the most common complaints are outside storage, vehicle-related violations, and tall grass, which thankfully we're coming out of that season. So don't know about y'all, but I'm looking forward to not have to mow my yard every week. So that's all I've got. I'll be here at the end if y'all have any questions. But like Chief said and others have said, we want to hear from y'all. So if there's any issues, let us know. I'm here today, but you can always get a hold of us by phone, email, online form. There's many, many ways to get a hold of code. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. And right before we get to recycling and solid waste update, as Patricia's working her way up here, our police department, fire department, I mean, they do an excellent job of serving our community. So I do want to recognize y'all for doing that. Just if I could get a round of applause for everything they do for our community. But they're very engaged as well. You're gonna see them reading books at libraries. You're gonna see them giving out toys during the holidays. You're gonna see them in schools trying to keep everybody aware of what's going on. So they do a very powerful job, and appreciate everybody that is part of that process. So let's talk a little bit about recycling and solid waste.
Good evening. Hi there. Okay. Well, I've been making the rounds this season, talking to everybody about a couple of my favorite topics. And one of them is, I'm Patricia Redfern, Solid Waste and Recycling Director. Got ahead of myself. I get all excited. Talking about the community garden program. And we currently have 6 gardens. 2 of them became city property this year. Very, very excited about that. We have available garden beds. It is a great opportunity to get out there and garden someplace for free if you don't have space, but you get to mix and mingle with your neighborhood too. So we do have this information in your packets where these gardens are. So wanted to get a shout out to those. Likewise, we have one of my favorite annual events coming up over at the Warmack Library, and that's on December 13th. Also in your packet, it's a seed swap. I don't want anybody to get worried that they have to bring seeds to get seeds. Seeds are free. I do already have some of my personal purple coneflower seeds and scarlet rose mallow seeds, and also bringing some cuttings from some houseplants. So, but everybody that's inclined to do so, you know what it's like when you're gardening, you get more seeds than you get plants. And then what do you do with all those seeds? Well, this is a great opportunity for everybody to come out again, meet your neighbor, meet the USDA. There's going to be booths for all kinds of neat giveaways on the 13th at the beautiful Warmack Library. All right. I'll talk a little bit about trash now. Got a whole lot of things. We have a magnet in your packet, and that is just reminding you that the holidays are coming up. And what is that going to do to us? That's going to shift everything, isn't it? Okay. So the good news, on Thursday, when we have Thanksgiving, we have just a little bit of shifting to do, right? Everybody on Thursday is going to shift to Friday. Your Friday is going to shift to Saturday. Easy stuff. Okay. And then we'll worry about Christmas, right? Okay. We got this. Actually, I have been tracking this, and District 4 is doing real well. So very happy about that. Now, also on the trash related issue, we are currently negotiating with Republic Services to bring us carts, the rolling carts. Thank you. Okay, good. I heard thank you, Jesus. I'll take that. Amen. They're coming. They're coming to a neighborhood near you very, very soon. Okay, so currently the thinking is on or before October 1, 2027. That gives everybody a chance to get used to the idea and gear up for it, because it's going to be a garbage cart. I know it takes a lot. A garbage cart and a recycling cart. And we're going to be looking at that same kind of that shifting that we're doing at the holiday. When we have those carts, those rolling carts, that holiday shift will still be there. So just preparing everybody. We're really going to be absolute pros at it by that point. I did not get these. Yes. When we did the survey, 9% of the respondents self-reported that they would likely have enough trash for a second cart, and that will be available. So I don't see how we could make it work without it. Okay. So we've also got tips for the holidays. I won't read this to you, but it's good stuff. Mainly, I just don't want to see any food in your recycle bins. You know who you are. Okay. All right. And not all plastic wrap is recyclable. So if you think it's trash, if you're not sure, go ahead and put it in the trash. That way it doesn't make an expensive trip over to the recycling facility just to wind up at a landfill. Okay. Make sure it's recyclable. And we've got all that information on the side of the now bin, but future, that'll be on the cart. Okay. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Redford. These carts are a big topic that we hear about, and we've been talking about it for years. And we're finally at the point where Republic is saying, you know what, we're going to have to switch over just because how the industry is going overall. But hopefully what we're trying to do also is work with our HOAs and our PIDs to make sure they understand, because you might want to create certain guidelines for residents to understand when do you pull your cart out to the curb, when you take it back, where do you store the cart? Start thinking about those type of ideas that you might want to consider as the HOA. But also, as a city, and I talked to Republic a couple of weeks ago, we have to do some educational videos. So in other words, if you pull your cart out, make sure you don't park your car in front of the cart on the street. Or if you put your cart out, make sure there's not overhanging branches where the cart can be picked up. So it's going to take some educational process with that process, but hopefully it'll be a good win for us. So now we do have an update from our Director of Parks, Rex.
I don't think this is working. Is it working? Okay, good. Good evening, Ray Serta. I'm the Parks, Arts, and Recreation Director for the City of Grand Prairie. Before I start off on my presentation, I do want to acknowledge one of our park board members who's here, and that's Susanna Ramirez. Susanna, if you can say hello to everybody. So the first slide I want to talk about is our downtown tree lighting and holiday parade that we'll be having on December the 6th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We're excited this year that our holiday parade, we're up to 56 floats that will be being attractive over here on Main Street. So we're excited about that. That's going to be kicking off on December 6th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's going to be at City Hall Plaza. And then after that, we'll have our actual official Christmas tree lighting as soon as the parade is over. And of course, the mayor will be there and lighting the Christmas tree. So we're excited about that. There's going to be live Christmas carols holiday vendors, free photos with Santa, and much, much more. So if for more information, you can go on to grandfundgp.com. The next slide that I want to be talking about is our Prairie Lights. You're right in the home of Prairie Lights. This year, I'm proud to announce that we're actually celebrating 20 years of Prairie Lights. It's going to be opening on, yes, thank you very much. It's going to be opening on Thanksgiving night, and it runs through New Year's Eve. I know there's a lot of traffic that when we kick that off, but I appreciate everybody's patience. We try to get as many folks in there as possible because we have a lot of visitors that come throughout, not only in Grand Prairie, but throughout the Metroplex, and even some people come throughout the state of Texas. So we're excited about that. It's a brand new we're going to have a brand new animated lands where there'll be light dances and syncs with new festive music. We're going to be, we redesigned our lighted walk-through forest. We're going to have a charming holiday village featuring photos with Santa, shopping, much more. We're also going to have 2 incredible drive-through light tunnels this year, and we're all excited about that. Tickets are on sale at prairielights.org. Also this year, like we did last year, we're gonna be doing our Grand Prairie resident coupon, which is $10 off general admission. So those are all right now at the if you need a coupon, you can go to the Epic, the Summit, Dalworth, Charlie Taylor Rec Center, the Summit, Tony Shotwell Life Center, Kirby Creek, Grand Prairie Main Library, and of course the Betty Warmack Library. And it's also at the mobile units that we have. So please come out and enjoy that event. The next program I want to talk about is our Fish Creek Linear Park. This year, thanks to State Representative Chris Turner and also to Council Member Lopez, we were able to get a $2.8 million grant from Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. And this is going to be, yes, very much. This is going to be, we're going to be able to light up the trail. It's at 2.8 miles with solar lights, and it's going to be along the hike and bike trail along Lake Ridge Parkway to the border of Arlington over at Fish Creek Linear Park. So when you're walking at night, it'll be well lit. So we're excited about that. Some of the benefits include solar lights, renewable energy from the sun. It's a zero emission. There's no electric bills associated with this. It's low maintenance, and we have no trenching between the light poles. So we're all excited about that. And if budget allows, we're going to be able to replace 2 playgrounds along the trail with the new playground equipment for our playgrounds. The next slide I want to talk about is our Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Master Plan. It's called the Grand Vision. We're currently having public input meetings, and this meeting was already set prior to Councilman Lopez's town hall meeting. We're actually having one right now over at the Betty Warmack Library. We had one last night at the Grand Peninsula. We have one mentioned. It's at the Betty Warmack. And then tomorrow we're actually having one at Dalworth Recreation Center. It's from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The master plan is a 1.5-year process that we have been taking place, and we started last year. It serves as the roadmap to guide us on the short and long-term priorities for the parks, arts, and recreation system in Grand Prairie. these are done over 10 years. And so the last one we did was in 2016, 2017. So we're in the process of having that. So as soon as you get out of this meeting, you can run down to Betty Warmack and please have your input for the Parks Master Plan. So I'll be here at the end if there's any comments or questions that you have. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray. And the Parks Master Plan is very important. I mean, the last time we had it was around 2017. Is that right? Yeah, so 2017 was the last time we'd done this process. And we're really trying to figure out, I mean, what do we need in our parks? What do we need in our bike trails? What do we need overall in recreation centers? So your input is very valuable to us on that part. Next, we do have engineering and utilities service update that we want to provide you tonight.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Noreen Hausreich. I'm the Director of Engineering and Utility Services. One of the items that we're responsible for is the management of our capital improvement program. So one of the things I'm going to highlight tonight is a project we recently completed in District 4. It is the Daymeyer Road. The limits were from Raglan Road to Prairie Waters. We started construction in December of last year and finished in September. So it was less than 10 months to complete this project. It was to widen a 2-lane road to a 3-lane with a continuous turn lane. We added a 6-foot sidewalk on one side. We couldn't do it on both sides because it's a core property on the other way and there wasn't enough right of way for that. We improved the culverts and drainage situation and we added more streetlights. I don't know if anyone had a chance to drive it, but as you can see from the picture, it looks beautiful. And we added guardrail as well. So that's just one of the projects we've completed in this area. And that's all I have for an update on engineering. And I'll be here at the end if you have any questions about anything else. Thank you. 360, yes.
No, and if I'll just go back to that one slide real quick. So on this Raglan, I know that we, and Walter, you correct me if I'm wrong, if I see you in the back here, but I know we work with Tarrant County to expand Raglan Road to get additional funding there to help us support that. The city took care of this portion here. There are new developers just for all these new apartments being built off of 360. So as those apartments being built, we're putting it back on developers to say, you know what, y'all have to finish out the road. So from Prairie Waters all the way to the end of Daymeyer, we're telling these developers, you know what, y'all have to put money back into our street program to make sure it matches up to the rest of the street. Am I correct, Walter? Alrighty. So that's some of the things we do. We know that they have the right of way sometimes, but when they ask for variances or they ask for adjustments, you know, the city, we try to see what we could give it in partnership with them to help with our roads. So that's something I just want to highlight. Thank you. All right, next up, we do have transportation.
Hi, I'm Carol DeVries, Director of Transportation and Mobility for Grand Prairie. I just want to tell you about a project a little farther south, but this is one that Councilmember Lopez wanted me to bring up to you. This is a 360 extension from 287 to 67. We're looking at potential alignments. Grand Prairie is working with the Tollway Authority. So yes, this one will be another toll ultimately. They're working with the NTTA and Goodland on the potential alignments for this corridor extension. And those options are being reviewed by NTTA, TxDOT, the different cities, and the Council of Governments. It has been recommended for funding in COG's planning process. So it is a blip on the map is how we kind of put it. It is being planned for in the future. One of the things that we wanted to go over, I know it's outside of our city limits, but you guys live near it, 360 and Barden. That interchange is finally getting signalized. TxDOT is doing the work. And the report I got from them is that they should be done by the end of this calendar year. So, end of 2025. So they're getting close. Since it is a TxDOT signal, the way you'll know is it'll go into flash for, I don't know, better part of a week before it gets turned on to red, yellow, green, and you'll know when they're there. But I also want to tell you one we're building at Barden and Sergeant Greg Hunter. We're just starting construction on that, the contractor, so you'll probably see him doing some piers and getting some of the conduit in place. So that's another intersection in your district that is going in. The citywide bicycle planning document. Been working on this probably about 9 months or so. We've been getting public input all throughout the city on this document. It's to evaluate all the existing conditions, identify those necessary connections and the missing continuity citywide, because we do have pieces here and there. The plan is going to be broken down into manageable projects to identify and plan for the necessary funding and sources that will be needed. The draft master plan is going to be presented to council in the next couple of months. So they're finally going to get it rolled out, and they'll get to go into the details and look at that. And the project website is kind of long down here, Gresham Smith Planning. But since I talked to Carol, Carol's got to stick together before the meeting, and she was asking about it. I've already got a card ready for you with all that on the back and the right person to talk to, because she had questions about this one as well. Okay, VIA. Since VIA's inception, which was here in Grand Prairie in April of 2022, they've completed over 479,000 rides, and we currently have over 37,000 active riders in the city. The pricing is base fare $3, seniors $2, and to book a ride, you can either call this number, or if you go to the App Store and download the app, this is what it looks like. Make sure it's via Grand Prairie, and you can book a ride that way as well. And let's look at some of the additional destinations that we provide for additional $4. So for $3, you can get to the West Irving train station, Tarrant County Community College, and UTA. For $4, you can go to DBU, Dallas County College of Mountain View, Medical City Arlington, USMD Hospital, or Methodist Mansfield Medical Center. So those are the additional places outside of Grand Prairie that you can go. And I'll be here tonight if you have any additional questions.
Thank you. Yes, Charlie. Prairie Hunter.
It's gonna hang on at Greg Hunter and Barden. That contractor's been working on that along with, there's one down on the peninsula as well. So let me get you a better date on that. I don't know for sure if it's going to be the end of the year, but it looks like it's closer. It just depends. I'm going to bet you the TxDOT one's waiting on an Encore meter to be set. I just bet you that's usually the last thing we're waiting on. So if that's the case, then we're a lot closer. What kind of sign? Okay, I can check that out. Yeah. We don't want it blocking visibility. Yeah. Certainly. Okay, thank you.
I think there's one.
Oh. Awesome. They said they were going to try to do mid-November, but I did not want to report early and them not be able to do it. So I gave TxDOT the benefit of the doubt. Hey, what do you know? Good job.
No. And for those that use Barden and 360, we know that that light was long overdue. If you ever pass by there around school, when school lets out, or we know when there's a shift change happening with FedEx and UPS, because you see everybody's just trying to stop and go. So it backs up. So once again, it wasn't in Grand Prairie, so we couldn't do the pushing, but I'm very happy that our staff stayed with it and followed up every couple of months and even try to help them in the process. So thank you. All right. Coming up next is our Planning Development Department. So Rashad.
Councilman, evening, everybody. Rashad Jackson, Planning and Development Director. As my colleagues have noted, the city is actively planning ahead. We have the bike master plan, the parks master plan, and my department has spearheaded starting up a Grand Prairie epicenter plan. So the epicenter plan is a continuation of a comprehensive plan update for the city. We do a comprehensive plan update, which deals with future land uses, amenities, and things of that nature every 5 to 10 years. The last one was done, I believe, in 2018. That was the entire city. We've gotten so much development now that I decided that it's best to split the city up, because what somebody might want up on 30 is not what somebody is going to want down on 287. So we're 30 miles long, 8 miles wide, the longest city, I believe, in Texas. So, yeah, very skinny. So with that, we did phase 1, which is the Southgate area, booming area. Like Councilman noted, probably another 40,000 people intended to be in this area. The core of the city, hence epicenter plan, is from Joe Pool Lake up to Pioneer Boulevard. Then we're going to do phase 3 after this. So this is a prime opportunity to give input on the future of your city, the bike master plan, the parks master plan, and the comprehensive plan update. We'll take all that input and put it in this plan as well. So as I noted, we sparked this off in August, done a project survey. We went to Main Street Fest to get in-person input. We're also going to do a engagement neighborhood meeting here tomorrow on November 13th at Betty Warmack from 6 to 8. Will be a brief presentation of what we've already accomplished with regard to input, citizen input. But we want more input. We plan to have additional meetings, neighborhood engagement meetings after the holidays, starting in January. So this is a 10-month to 12-month process. Anytime you want to provide input, please either go to our website and you can use the QR code. We have a project website where we'll take that input at any time. Leave it there.
Can we just go back one slide real quick? And this is very important. You might hear us, whether in P&Z or whether in City Council, we refer to flume, right? And you might hear the mayor say, well, I don't like flume. Well, flume is very important, especially as developers are looking in Grand Prairie. They see the zoning, and this particular zoning here could say agriculture, right? Well, they know agriculture is probably not going to happen right there off of Raglan 360. But at least the flume would give them an idea of what the city council and the mayor is envisioning in that particular area. It gives them an idea. Unfortunately, we have to go by whatever the land zoning is currently, right? The landowner decides that, and not the city council. But at least the city council is trying to tell future developers, hey, look at our flume study plan, and this is what we'd rather have in this particular area. It's an idea for them to at least consider before reaching out. Because I know I've been contacted this week by 3 developers, and once they start telling me it's a mixed use and apartments, I'm like, I call you out next week, you know. But yeah, but that's what they think. They think that, you know, there's a lot of apartments getting requests coming in, and we're trying to do everything possible, trying to make sure what makes the best sense for that particular neighborhood before we say yes. So thank you. All right, so that kind of concludes our presentation, and we wanted to make sure we leave enough time here for questions from y'all. So we do have a mic up front for anyone that has a particular question tonight. The reason we say up front, because we are doing live YouTube as it's happening. That way individuals at home could hear your question and also be able to watch it online later, just in case they want to reach out on another day or so. So if anyone has a question or a comment, please step forward to the mic here.
I'm short. Let's stand this way. Yeah. I want to thank you, John, for all that you do for District 4. District 4 is a whole lot better because of you. So let's give him a hand. My name is Cheryl Smith, and I've been here about 25 years, and I do a lot of community work. But I would love for us to have a Christian bookstore. I'd love for us to have a grocery store. And I'd love us to have a recreation center. I know that there are a lot of things around in the area, but we pay taxes too. And I'm glad to see we're finally going to get the recycle bin. But one thing I do know is John will work with you, because he worked with us with Beacon Hill when we had the problem with the stay hotel. But I'm going to put all those things in the plan. But I just want you to know that District 4 is a good place to live. And we want to keep it that way. And we're starting to get a lot of traffic on Camp Wisdom as well. So we might want to think about the speed on there as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl, for that question and those comments. But first of all, I mean, it's really y'all the ones that's providing us the input. Y'all the ones setting the agenda for me to go forward, and appreciate y'all's input throughout this process, because without y'all's input, we're just sitting up there and not really realizing what you're really needing in your backyard. But regarding a grocery store, I am actually talking to different grocery stores as we speak. I think, why do we get excited for Frost Bank to be built again with some of Lake Ridge? The reason we're excited because hopefully they could see, hey, there's a neighborhood bank being built here. There's enough cars, there's enough traffic to support some type of additional retail, whether it be retail, restaurants, or a grocery store in that particular intersection. So we're hoping that convinces people to look at that track once again. Long time ago, it belonged to HEB, but HEB said, no, we can't be built there. So they let that go. But, you know, we're open to try and figure out what works best on that part. So wondering if there's another question from the audience or comment. Yes, sir.
So John, really appreciate this tonight. So we have a lot of green spaces, especially in the Sheffield Village area. And also Sheffield Village has like Fish Creek Trail. Is there any plans for Fish Creek Trail to extend over into Sheffield Village? Like for instance, either via a bridge or extending the walkway. And also there's those green spaces. Is that public land as well? So we can like maybe build park or community gardens or such?
Definitely, as we're looking at the master plan with the parks, that's something we have to identify what works best.
Yes, I appreciate that. Again, we're having that master plan. So the best thing to do is try to go to one of those public input meetings, because if we don't hear what the residents want, we don't know to put it in or not. So
that's happening tomorrow, correct?
That is happening tomorrow at Dalworth. It's going on right now over at Warmack Library. So our team is over there right now. So, and our team will be there tomorrow night. But yeah, one of the big initiatives too is for trail expansion. So we're looking at trails.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know community gardens might be something that individuals might bring up tonight, but I know that I'm meeting with different groups that they already have some going on the north side of town. So they're trying to work with us, trying to figure out what makes best sense in District 4 to try to figure out how to incorporate it within our district. It might be along the park trail. It might be in a particular neighborhood that might be interested in doing it. So we are trying to work with the established community gardens that we have throughout the city and see what works best to really do one south of 20.
Hi, Mr. Lopez. So
Hello.
first off, Sarah Wilhite, and I just want to thank all city staff for being here. I know it's after hours, so thank y'all for taking your time. I know it's a thankless job sometimes, so thank you all for being here. So
Definitely.
yeah, of course. So my question might be for transportation, Carol. Don't worry, it might be an easy, no, that's not us. I just don't know. So of course, in the news lately, there's been a lot of talk about DART, and it's affecting Highland Park, Irving, all that. They're putting it on the ballot for May if they want to be a part of it. Does that impact Grand Prairie at all?
No, that's
Okay, see,
mass
easy question.
transit. So
Okay.
we do not have that.
Okay, easy question.
No, and it's very important. I think our city made a decision 20 plus years ago to keep that quarter cents within our city to help expand our parks, our police department, to invest in other areas within our city. Um, I think it'd be interesting to see what develops, especially we know there's a big old FIFA game next year. So not sure how the movement of transportation is going to happen around us, but hopefully this will be something that they consider as well, because we know it's going to be very busy next summer here in our area. All righty. How about another question?
Bertha Galan, I live on Mead Drive in Sheffield Village. Just a couple of comments. And these are day-to-day things, but those were the ones that affect us, I guess, the most. But thank you for all the informative reports and everything. It's good to know how well Grand Prairie is doing. I know the bins have been a real divisive issue, and I thought not too long ago, the residents got a chance to vote. Do we want them? Do we not want them? And I think at that time we said no. And, and now, of course, I see that Republic is saying, hey, this is the way the future is going. And I understand it. I don't like them only because, unfortunately, sometimes our residents aren't good about putting them away. If you drive down Arlington, any Arlington street on trash day at 4:00 in the afternoon, the bins are still out there. 5:00, people work. I understand that. But we can't even get neighbors to pick up those brochures that are thrown on the street. And they sit there for weeks and weeks. And you say, if you won't even pick that up, how do I know you're going to put your bin up? Who's going to monitor storage and whether they sit out there for 2 or 3 days? How will we be able to control that within our neighborhoods so that our neighborhoods aren't known as the bin streets?
Definitely. Regarding cards, I believe it's going to be a straightforward issue, but I think I got code enforcement coming up, so I might be tapping the shoulder for that.
So I'm sure that whenever that change does happen, there will be a subsequent ordinance revision to kind of limit when those can be out. And then your neighborhood code officers will be the primary ones responsible for keeping an eye on that.
So they'll be issuing warnings, citations, whatever, as needed?
As needed to get compliance. Yeah, we don't want to be too heavy-handed and just write somebody a ticket the first time. But yeah, there'll be, I'm sure, an adjustment period for that because it will be a big change.
Yeah.
And then the code compliance division of the police department will be the primary ones keeping an eye on it.
Okay. The nice thing about the bags is they're gone.
Right.
By 7:30 in the morning when the guys come, they're gone.
Sure.
And of course, we're putting people out of work as well when we go to those automated arms that pick up the cans, aren't we?
I'm sure there's
the Republic employees, yeah, but still, we've gotten to know them. I mean, they pick up our trash. We talk
Sure.
to them. We say, hey, I've got some extra stuff or whatever. And now it's going to be replaced by automation, but
right.
That's the wave of the future, I guess. But anyway, thank you. And I guess why code compliance? Just tell me, just so that I know, who monitors those paper things that are thrown in our driveways, in our streets? They end up on the street. They end up getting wet. Who does that?
Yeah. So code does, but unfortunately, we're limited in what we can do about that. There's some tricky aspects of like littering violations and also First Amendment rights for people to be able to distribute stuff like that. So we talk to those companies and try to get voluntary compliance. Some work more with us than others. And then some of them kind of go away for a little while, then come back, and then we talk to them again and they go away. So unfortunately, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah.
But if you are recurring or frequently getting those, please let us know and we'll talk to the company and try to get them to.
Is it against
Stay.
the law if they sit out there for a week for us as citizens to pick them up? It trashes the street. And I don't know why that's become my pet peeve lately
Right.
when I walk my dog. But I don't want to get in trouble for picking up something that sat out there for a week.
No, are you asking if it's against the law for you to pick them
For
up?
me to pick it up
No.
and recycle.
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Excellent. That'll be my job. And then I guess my last comment is just on absentee landlords. When a house goes up for rent in the neighborhood, and then you see the house that was previously well taken care of, and now it's trashy. There's 10 cars parked in the driveway. Nobody is obviously monitoring those those houses, especially the owners. And I've looked up owners online with the
Yes.
TCAD, but they don't live here. They don't live in the neighborhood. They don't have to see that neighbor's house across from ours or next door to ours. Is there anything we can do with the city's help?
So we try to monitor that as much as we can, but we depend on y'all's help to let us know if you see that occurring.
Okay.
And we'll take care of it.
Okay.
Cars parked on the street that are inoperable or unregistered, that's against our city ordinances, and we'll take care of that. We'll write them a citation. If they don't do it, we'll tow the car.
Okay.
If they're parking in the yard and things like that, or broken down vehicles in the driveways, they can't do that either.
Yeah.
So if you see that stuff, let us know. And we do have code officers that go around, but we have 10 that are geographically assigned for the whole city.
Right.
And so they're not everywhere all the time. And that's
Right.
why we really depend on y'all to let us know, in addition to the code officers being out there.
So we have a dedicated code officer for
Yes.
our neighborhood.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Ryan, do you want to talk a little bit about short-term rentals? I mean, what our process or what we've done lately?
Sure. So a short-term rental is a rental that's 30 days or less. All of those properties have to be registered with the city. There's an inspection process, and then there's a special ordinance that applies only to those properties for that specific use. So there's no street parking allowed. There's occupancy restrictions based on the size of the home, but in no case can they ever have more than 12 people there. If there's frequent noise violations, parties, so forth like that, we can revoke their permit and not allow them to operate anymore. We haven't had to do that. We've come very close. But since we enacted that ordinance a couple of years ago, our issues with short-term rentals have dropped way down. We occasionally have them here and there, but it's not, every weekend parties all the time like it was before we tightened things up a few years ago.
Appreciate that. Oh,
You mind if I would like to add a couple things on short-term rentals? I know it's a hot button issue. First of all, our city manager came up with a really creative solution in the space that has really knocked a dent in this problem, and that's the on-street parking. Because of that vision and being able to change the ordinance, now it gives us, our police officers, the ability to go and sink our teeth into something when we get there. Because usually it's a loud noise, a party, something like that. You can't have a party with cars all in the parking in the street, right? So the officers can now go there and take care of it. So that change was instrumental to the short-term rental problem. Second thing is, I sent a supervisor on every single short-term rental call. So there are times we've got a lot of young, tenacious police officers that have to learn a penal code this thick, a family code this thick, and so on and so forth. So because short-term rentals is a quality of life issue, we have a supervisor respond on every single one of those to address it. So just want to touch those things. Other thing I want to touch on real quickly on code, it was compared to our neighbors. You'll notice that our code compliance, we look a lot different than our neighbors. You don't see a lot of bandit signs out and about. If you don't know what bandit signs are, those are the ones that says we buy ugly houses and all that. You don't see a lot of panhandling in Grand Prairie. You go across the border in other areas, you do. That's because our code team, our police officers, it's a team approach. So don't be surprised if you're driving down the road and you see a police car pull off and is pulling out a sign out of the road that's trying to sell, buy an ugly house or put Christmas lights on your house. That's part of their job. So in fact, I got one in the back of my car right now that says ho, 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 Christmas lights installation. So, anyhow, it's a team sport. Again, that's part of the vision, and hopefully you're seeing that.
all righty. Any other question? Yes.
Hello, everyone. I'm Louise. I live in Zone 2. And two things. When I bought my house in Grand Prairie, what I liked about it is wildflowers and cactus. I don't see that anymore. Also, it looks sloppy. They don't trim the trees hanging over wires and everything. Also, I like to jog at Jennifer McFall Park. And when the water rises, it leaves a nasty mess in the park. And the city of Grand Prairie, they hide back there. They're not cleaning it. I don't say nothing to them because I don't know what to say to them. But yeah, it's like, I like the fact that it says keep Grand Prairie beautiful. Not anymore.
All righty. Ray, anything we could do whenever we see things happening at a park, improve that?
Thank you. Anytime you see anything especially at McFalls parks, just call our parks. We got crews that go out there. We'll get it done and get that park cleaned up. But there are times where, people may rent out pavilions or picnic tables and they have a big party of 50 or 60 people. Well, they're not necessarily, they don't clean up. So, and we may have several rentals throughout especially on the weekends. So we may have a crew that'll go in there because we do have staff that is available 7 days a week. We have a night guy that comes in and all his sole responsibility is to take care of calls that come in over the weekend. So if you see a problem with any of the parks that are trashed out, or you see that are trash that has been overloaded, just please call us and let us know. Thank you.
Then regarding cactus and overgrown trees, are you seeing that in the neighborhoods or is that more in the parks that you're referring to? The main roads? It's kind of like Keep Grand Prairie Beautiful type efforts along medians and yeah.
Now, this is a good question for what does Keep Grand Prairie Beautiful do? Keep Grand Prairie Beautiful is responsible for adopt a street and adopt a cemetery and adopt a stream. So they're out there picking up litter there. They are definitely, they take care of the community gardens. It doesn't include planting along the medians. So I'm not sure whose group does parks. Is that you? No, as far as planting on the medians. Sorry, throw it back to you.
No. Yeah, some of that stuff is contracted out. So, we can look at our contractor and talk to him about that. Also, I just wanted to talk to you about, you had mentioned at McFalls, that creek that goes back through there. Well, as you know, that's a flood zone area. And every time it rains or anything that comes through there, we get a big, heavy storm. So everything that happened from either on the east side east side, and it flows down to the west, that part gets flooded all the time. And so we're having to have staff go in there and clean up. But as long as people take care of their trash when they're having or litter, when they're having parties and things of that nature in our park system, it'll make everything look a lot cleaner if they clean up after themselves. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that. And then depending where that particular street's at, it might be tied into a PID as well. So I recommend to make sure, if you want, take my information down tonight. If you can tell me what streets it might be at, we can see whether it's a PID, whether it's a city-owned roadway. That way we could monitor that and keep up with that.
Actually, I was just about to bring that up. So actually, you and I are in an email right now about a PID. And so I think we can have a PID to bring in cactus and agave and whatnot to beautify, especially along Kingswood. The Sheffield Village neighborhood has been around for 30 or so years, and we haven't had a PID, and it's looked the same. Is there any sort of way that we can educate our residents on how we can get a PID started?
So Sheffield Village in Oak Hollow does have a PID. They've been there.
The south side of Sheffield Village. Because Sheffield Village and Oak Hollow, there's a north side. Yeah.
Yeah, the south side by Kingswood closer.
Yes,
yeah,
that's correct.
Definitely. I know that there's several HOAs around there. So definitely we probably have to have a conversation to see. It does take a process. Typically the way it works in a particular neighborhood that's zoned, it has to be a vote of the neighbors saying they want to be part of a PID. And usually it's majority of the people that vote in that particular neighborhood to start one. But something we could probably definitely look at and see how to either start the petition or how do we get some things addressed in that particular neighborhood.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And Lee Harris that works in our city staff. And I believe, Victor, you've been part of that email with Lee on that part.
Good afternoon. Two separate issues. First one to kind of put on the map, so to speak. Don't know if you know, but the DFW cemetery down by DBU is getting at capacity pretty soon. I work with that cemetery quite a bit to help the veterans out. And 2 years ago, they opened up the section as you went to the right side that was open. That's now full. And then I'll build in the backside. My point being is that that cemetery is near its fill point. Why not Grand Prairie started thinking about, can we put one in Grand Prairie and put ourselves back on the map to support our veterans in some of our open lands and see what can be done? Because I think that would put quite the name to Grand Prairie, that if we're taking care of those who protected us during war and who didn't come back from war in the process, I think that would be quite a feather in our hat if we could look at that, because that's going to be several years down the road. That won't be anything anytime soon. But if we start thinking about it now, I think that'll benefit us down the road, and see what plans, if any, are being made for anything other than that area, because at a certain point, it's got to grow somewhere. And as to where that area is going to be is unknown. So my question is, why can't it be us? That's my first one. Number two, I'm still concerned about traffic in District 4, specifically Kingswood. Even though the chief cited 170 different stops and everything, it is horrific. And there's lulls when something gets good, and then there's times where it's ridiculous. And personally, that I built a patio, I can't even enjoy it. And sadly, I got 3 new pits I put back there to add to my 5 already existing pits. So now I got 8 total barbecue pits in my patio. And by the way, I need them. Okay. My wife says no, but I need them. Okay. And because of that, I mean, you really can't enjoy it. And it's just horrible. And now it just gets worse and worse, or so it seems. And I know the chief and I have talked about it quite a bit, and he's been very proactive about it. But I'm not sure what we can do, what I'm going to recommend we do to get more data. And I'm not sure what they're called. There's those like wires you put across the street where they can count the number of cars that go across it, because the traffic has increased so much that I think there's a need there. And especially with the fact that we can build apartments up here by the little strip mall over here to the north end by Lake Ridge, those two will add even further problems to that area, in which case we need data. And I don't think we have sufficient data, because the data would show that traffic has significantly increased in that area and would justify the need for either a speed bump or a stop sign or something to ensure that people are just safe. I mean, I think you know that on or about a month ago, they hit another fire, the same fire hydrant.
Yeah.
That's the second time that fire hydrant has been hit in about 4 years. And now you got that second fire hydrant, my wall on the back, and then the wall across the street. So they've knocked down 2 walls, 2 fire hydrants in less than about 100-yard radius. And that's when you come down from Lake Ridge, that little curvy thing, kind of downhill, those that know the area. Cars don't understand that downhill slopes, physics science. You go coming down fast, you can accelerate on faster as you go down. And unfortunately, the one time there was children playing in the backyard to my neighbor. And even though it's going to sound contradictory, I'm glad they hit my wall, because had they hit that wall next door, there'd been dead children.
Yeah.
And my question is, we don't need dead children. The fact that our inherent responsibility is to protect and serve, and children should be on the top of our list of those you protect.
No, I agree. We're going to talk about cemetery real quick. So first of all, on the cemetery, the city of Grand Prairie does have a city cemetery, Grand Prairie Gardens Memorial, and that used to fall under the Parks and Recreation Department. That falls under General Services now. But I do know that there's room for expansion in that cemetery. I believe it's about 6 acres. But I can have Jason Ramirez reach out to you.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that Jason Ramirez is aware of that, and I'll make sure he reaches out to you. Thank you. Chief, you want to talk about traffic?
So Saturday, Charlie and I walked in the Veterans Day parade. Then I saw him at the Veterans Day service yesterday. Of course, he doesn't mention any of this to me while we're together. He waits till he's in front of all of you online with the camera. Typical Charlie. So as I said, since this is obviously for everybody else, and Charlie already knows all this, we've been out there 170 citations or stops since May. That's a lot. And I agree that there's more that can be done. Doing a traffic study is easy, so we can get that out there, Charlie. That's not a big deal. Be glad to do it. I think we've already done that, but I'll double check. But okay. Well, if we haven't, we'll get it done. But I think we have that data. But if not, we'll do it again. That's easy. Happy to do it.
No, definitely. I mean, those that live with us close to Lake Ridge, we hear cars speeding down Lake Ridge all night long. I mean, they even do it in bright daylight, right? They do it on Sundays. Sunday seems to be between 3 and 5 o'clock. You hear them just racing. You know, I told my neighbor not to do this, but we kind of found out where that car lived, and we just reminded him about the speed zones and stuff. So, but yeah, I think there's a lot more to be done where the area that Charlie mentioned, there's going to be 500 apartments. Sorry about that. 500 apartments coming in. And yeah, sorry about that. There's about 500 apartments being built right behind my home. So they're going to have a road that's 100 feet from my fence. It's a wrought iron fence. It's not a wooden fence. So that road that leads to the apartments, you won't be able to see around that corner. I mean, when we come out of our neighborhood, it's like cat and mouse, right? We think we're right, but cars zoom right by us. So we're hoping with if those apartments ever get built, that stop signs or something will be considered more. I know transportation, I bring this up every couple of years, but I'm glad more neighbors are bringing this up as well because we need this feedback.
Yes, and I was just talking to the chief. We can do another study out there and see what we've got going on. Put the road tubes out. We can put yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes it's exhibition of acceleration, not real, but that's for them to figure that out. But yeah, we can do another study. I was just talking to him about that. We can see it's a good snapshot. It'll tell us who's going over the 85th percentile, how much, how often, what 15-minute increment, so that they can have targeted enforcement, which is more specific to the problem. They can't be there all the time, and then they'll be there when there's not one. So we want to give them the best tools they can to go out there and have good enforcement.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Anyone? No. Do you want to talk about your question? You're good?
Well, I'm just waiting on you to address it.
Okay. Sure.
My name is Tanisha Moore. I rent a house at 2816 Kettering Court, and I have a SUP in front of you. I just wanted you ask for more information, but I didn't know how to get in contact with you, so I came here with like a packet for you with just general information about it.
No, definitely. I appreciate you being here tonight, and definitely I would set up some time with you here in next week or so before the Thanksgiving holiday so we can review it. Thank you.
Go ahead and ask. My name is James Wilhite. I had asked earlier about Senate Bill 840, And what is city council doing to help address developers just coming in and not having to go to council to get the approval, not having to hold community meetings? I know that there have been ordinances put forward and they were tabled for more discussion, and we've spoken with Rashad about it as well. But what action is being done to help combat the apartments that the state of Texas is shoving down every Texan's throat? And also, I forgot what the other part of that question was. I'll let you address that and maybe I'll think of it.
Do you just want to talk a little bit what that bill does and what we did recently?
Just for everybody's knowledge, 89th legislature earlier this year, your senators adopted a bill, SB 840, which allows multifamily development in pretty much any commercial, retail zoning district. Of course, we know that typically that is only allowed in your multifamily zone properties. So we're able to plan ahead. Your retail areas are intended to serve the residential areas, but now they are trying to, from what we understand, they were trying to address the housing shortage by allowing developers to develop multifamily, hybrid housing, any residential type of development in any zoning district for the most part, or a mixed use type of development. So what that does for us, as we mentioned, the comprehensive plan update, it's hard to plan for any and everything. You got to know where certain things are going to be, what certain land uses are going to be needed to serve a potential population. So with that, it has caused a major problem with long-range planning, and our council, with their forethought, has directed us, and we did adopt what we call Appendix S and other standards within a Unified Development Ordinance, where we can amend what we already have on the books to, if somebody wants to come in and develop on general retail property or mixed-use property that would not typically be allowed by right in multifamily zone property, there's additional standards that we have set in place to try to address potential concerns with conflict of uses, screening walls, adding requirements for open space, more open space, because these areas were intended to serve residents for retail. So if you're going to put residents there, homes, apartments there, where is the retail going to go? And then those people who live in those structures, those buildings, where are their parks? Where are their open space opportunities? How are they going to function in that area? So we're requiring additional requirements on top of our Unified Development requirements for just straight multifamily zoning. So I would tell you, look at a video, City Council video, October 14th video, which is posted online, and you'll see what we've additionally adopted to try to curtail some of the concerns for SB 840.
Okay, a couple of follow-up questions. If you want to go.
Sure. No, and Rashad, thank you for that. Yeah, so that's what we've done so far, but I know that we've been trying to keep engaged, right? We had several state reps within our city limits, and the majority of them all voted for it, right? We had one that only voted against it. So we have to continue that conversation. We're currently reaching out to different state reps to get their buy-in, to make sure they understand what the bill really, how it impacted us locally. It took the control away from cities and also control from established neighborhoods from having to say so in the process. So we're really trying to educate them on that. I know a couple of weeks ago we were in Fort Worth at TML, and what TML is, it's a conference of all Texas cities, over 200 cities that come, and we had it in Fort Worth. So during one of the sessions, I know Councilmember Johnson, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, actually brought up this issue in front of 200 different cities. And we said, look, SB 840, it was incorrect. We need help from Austin. We need help from y'all's lobbyists to help us advocate to write a resolution, to rewrite this whole law all over again. So we're starting that conversation with different cities throughout Texas, because if it's only Grand Prairie trying to push this forward, we know we probably won't get that much traction, but we're continuing to do that. And just to recap briefly, Next spring, that's when the Texas legislature starts trying to figure out what the priorities are. The governor might have priorities, the speaker might have priorities, and also the lieutenant governor. But what we do in the city around summertime, our staff starts working with our lobbyists and with different workshops to try to figure out what our priorities too are. So we do that during the summer, and then usually around September, August, October timeframe, we start setting priorities as a city council. What do we want our lobbyists to be in Austin fighting for? What do we want to make sure that they're addressing? This is going to be one of our top priorities, to make sure that our lobbyists, people that's advocating for Great Prairie, understand that this needs to be addressed and probably rewritten.
Follow-up question. When you were writing Appendix S, did you look at any of the other cities like Irving? They passed it to where it has to be 8 stories or greater to try to make it cost prohibitive. Plano put in that they had to have a massive amenities such as fitness room, pools, all of that. They tried to make it as prohibitive financially as possible to build on there. Have we looked at anything like that with Appendix S?
If you look at the current amendment, it addresses a similar, we just did it in a different way.
Okay.
So the same things that would be required, as I mentioned, pools, dog parks, public art for the structures and whatever's developed are all included as requirements. So I'd ask you to look at those standards. We as a staff approached it from what would be the needs for the people who would be living there, and not necessarily from a prohibitive standpoint, but it will cost a developer more. Even with one of the requirements that we looked at was the distribution of the housing types. So if you're going to build 36 dwelling units per acre, most developers are going to want to do one single family, 1-bedroom apartments throughout.
I think I did read some of it. And I think 60%
We require
3-bedroom.
30% of those those rooms or apartments be 3-bedroom units. So that in itself, if you're really trying to address affordable housing, that allows for bigger opportunity for people with families to live in these structures as opposed to a single family, even though we want that, we need that, that's a market. But the goal for the bill was to address affordable housing. So we made certain that that is the case if you're going to use SB 840 as your development.
And I'm assuming traffic surveys are required, all of that for impact, because traffic is a big thing down on Lake Ridge.
We can request it, but it's based on the way SB 840 is written, we can't require it as part of the approval or review. So that is another component that, as Councilmember Lopez has mentioned, does not allow us to plan properly for development. And I think it probably was an oversight on their end to just say, look, they see those plans as restrictions for development, and they're really not restrictions. They're make sure that we develop properly. So,
okay, thank you.
Yeah, good questions. And I think we started the meeting, we talked about variances, right? So it's not that we're trying to prevent more housing coming to our city. This allows them to ask for variances in the process, but then it allows us to engage with our neighborhoods and make sure that it's the right project that's going in your backyard, as opposed to where the state, they just wrote it where we don't have no say so at all. So we're trying to correct that problem as it stands. All righty. Any other question by chance? All right. I think I waited about 8 seconds, but but do thank y'all for being here. I know that, it's your evening, you come from work or you have other life priorities, but appreciate y'all spending the evening with us. We're still around. If you have questions for any of us here, we're still here. Make sure you email me, call me if there's something going on in your neighborhood you want me to be part of. Thank you.